Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Women's History Month, hashtag Choose the Challenge. I am Luana Bradford, visionary and co-founder of Celebrate You, Women Embracing Wellness, and I'm excited to have another dynamic guest on this platform, Tamara L. Hunter. Tamara, how's it going?
I'm so excited to be here with you, as always. Thank you for being here and just love what we're going to be talking about.
Fantastic. Well, we'll just jump right in. Tamara, before we get into the conversation of Women's History Month and hashtag Choose the Challenge, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, what you're doing, and what's new in your world?
Well, thank you so much. And this month, I've thought a lot about Women's History Month and how women have affected me in so many different ways. And in truth, what I do every single day and where I do it is because of that. And what it is that I actually am a survivor of cancer. I survived. There's a story to it. I ended up surviving with a buddy. And now 6 plus years later, we have an international movement of buddies that are helping through healing through connections, because we believe that when you have someone there for you, when you connect with yourself, with someone else, a buddy, and with community, that you can actually heal through that. And we have a lot of fun. We share that we have an abundance of humor, hope, heart hugs, and a whole lot of love. And from that spawned a show that now I've shared over 500 stories of people that are service heroes, that they have inspiring stories that are inspiring others. And I love telling those stories. I'm always, every single time, so inspired to know that this person is serving this way, that person is serving that way. And there are so many good people throughout the world that are making a difference. And so that led me actually to, a couple of years ago, join into a global competition, of which I became the first Global Next Impactor. And the whole purpose of that was to be able to say that you too, it doesn't matter what age, doesn't matter what gender, anything, where you are, that you can make a difference in this world and be an impactor. And so every day I go out there to share the joy, share the love, let everybody know that anything and everything is possible.
That's beautiful. I love that. And so with what you're doing, you're actually creating history and spotlighting women and men who have a story to tell. We are living history. When we tend not to think about it that way, but we truly are living history, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm a huge history buff. In fact, I have a huge library, and just about every single one of the books in my library have something to do with history, because I do believe that we can learn so much from those that have been there before us. That why reinvent something? Why not go to the people that, number one, did it well, number two, possibly didn't do it well? Why? What was it that was missing? What if they could have done it differently? If they shared, what would they have done? Also, in hearing someone else's story, it oftentimes will possibly, at that point when we're ready, they say that the teacher will appear when we're ready.
Yes.
And maybe that teacher might be someone that's sharing a story. And so it might be different than what we think of. Maybe it doesn't have to be a mentor. Maybe it doesn't have to be a coach. Maybe it might be from turning in and finding out about someone that's doing something unique and different, that then that light goes off and that spark of inspiration. And then all of a sudden, clarity, and then making a difference. So I absolutely love telling those stories. And I will tell you, every single time I do, I always feel like I'm the one, if nothing else, I learned something else opened up in my eyes and in my heart.
And I think that's beautiful. And with Women's History Month, that's another opportunity that we have to become more enlightened, aware of the giants whose shoulders we stand on. But why don't you tell me, what is it about us today that's so important in celebrating each other as women? Why is the time now, it appears, around the world for this rallying cry around women?
I'll tell you this, that I believe that this last year has opened many eyes. And if they haven't been opened yet, I believe that they will be at some point. It might be that this will be history to someone in the future that will say, looking back on that, now I get it. However, we are in that point right now where we are the history makers. And in my own particular family, only one woman in each generation, a lot of guys, only one woman. And I always thought that was very interesting until finally it occurred to not only myself, but my daughter, that we have been given a gift to make a difference in the dynamic of our family. And it's a matter of showing up. And then we have been gifted with very strong women throughout the generations in my family. And when I go, I love history books of other people, but I equally have studied my family history and the women in my family. Every single time I go back to a story of someone that I thought I knew everything, and I go and I have letters, I have a lot of the family heirlooms and any of the journals, anything. And every single time I do this, there will be something else that will appear. So the times right now, women right now, what I would say is that we have an opportunity, even in this right now between you and I, Luana, is that this is a period of time unlike any others. It is like others in that we had strong women back in the day. Absolutely. And they had causes. They had ways of getting things done. It's just we didn't have the delivery system of their messages. We have delivery systems right now that are unprecedented to what was going on before. Like I said, I have letters, I have journals, I have records of these strong women that made differences. Yet I think about what would it have been if that particular generational woman in my family had what we have now at our fingertip. So the reason now is because I do believe that this last year has prepared us to possibly and given us a gift to go inward, to then take it outward, meaning that time that we've gotten, that we can touch our hearts, and we can our hearts are just as smart, if not smarter than our brains. We need to understand this, and then we need to get in tune with it so then we can take out what it is that our message and mission as women, because we have every right. We have equal rights. We have every right. And no matter where you are in the world, whatever is going on, we do have them, even if they're not quite equal, maybe in law or in culture, in times right now, and with internet, we do have the ability to be on an even playing field. And that's what I believe right now is what we've needed. And if we can take the opportunity of this last year and really, hone in, what is it that you're feeling called to? Because many of us are. Anything and all things are possible. Plus, that's why I love what you're doing with celebrating women And that is, we need to lock arms. We need to hold each other. We need to be there for each other. And if someone's feeling like I need a little bit of help, we need to, as sisters, we need to say, okay, what do you need? Let's make this happen. We need to be there for each other, because in being there for each other, we will be there for the whole world, because we know the importance of women. We know it. We know it.
So that takes us into hashtag choose to challenge. What does that mean to you, and how are you pushing the envelope, challenging the status quo, blazing your trail?
Oh, that's funny. Okay, choose to challenge. Hashtag choose to challenge. I love that. Every single thing in my life has been a challenge. And in truth, some would say it hasn't been easy. I see challenge. In fact, I just wrote about this for a book. I see challenges as opportunities because my mother taught me that at a very young age. And so these words are words that I literally grew up with. And that's not an accident, because she grew up with them. This is something generationally. So when I think of this, I think of that, like when I couldn't talk, no one could understand me because my mouth was formed wrong, and all things that went on there. And so many other things in my life. Nothing has been easy. Yet that's been the opportunity. That has been the opportunity. And so when I see a challenge, the very first thing is I will choose that challenge. And then I'm going to look around to say, okay, challenge, what is the opportunity here? Let's go there. Let's do this. And then next. And how am I putting that? I push the envelope every day. Anybody that knows me, I do. And if I get to a status quo place, I don't stay there long. It's just in my DNA, I think, because at times I'm like, you could have chilled for a few days. And yeah, I'll take it on. It's like, okay, no, that next challenge has come. There's another opportunity. Let's take it on and let's do this. And the reason why is because when you are doing it, and truthfully, guys, the reason that I do this is because I'm all about serving others. And so when I do this, it is not for myself. It is truly for others. And I always know whatever challenge is facing me, that so many others are too. And it's like, there's no time to waste. Let's get this done. Let's get the opportunity going, because someone needs it right now. There's a miracle in it for someone. Let's make it happen and go on. So, yeah, it's just a daily thing around me.
I love it. So we know that we are actually in the 101st year of our centennial celebration of women's right to vote. And the National Association of Women wanted to extend it into 2021. When you think about women's right to vote here in the U.S. from 1920, what does that mean to you? Not so much from a political landscape, but that it's actually an extension of our voice, a way that we can be heard, a way that we can shape the lives that we live.
Because I was shaped by it, personally touched by it. In my family, my great-grandmother was a suffragette. She was also a school teacher and a graduate, which was very uncommon in that period of time, an educated woman, yet a woman that was not about herself too, and it was about serving others. And it was something that I was raised with, because anything and all things are possible. And the political is that's a whole nother thing. But when you think of what a suffragette movement was, when you think of the big hats and them getting out there with their signs, these women were doing it because they wanted to be seen, and they wanted to make a difference in their homes and in the workplace and in community. And it wasn't for political gain. It was for their children, for their lives, for the food that was on their table, to be able to make a difference by caring. And when you weren't seen and you didn't have the right to say, okay, this isn't working for me, we can make a difference. And I can stand as an equal to say, my thought is this. How about let's collaborate? Let's make a difference. My voice can be heard because I have been recognized now because my voice can be heard. And to be raised with that as a legacy, I'm proud of it. And I honor the women that came in my family before me, because each one has been remarkably strong and have overcome amazing odds to make a difference in their life. And every single time that my mom was the one that taught me about challenges as opportunities as she had been. And it will continue because I have now passed it on to my daughter and my granddaughter. So this is a generational, I didn't know that I would cry. It means something very deeply in me. And I know that throughout the world that people look to the U.S. and these women that were white and showed up so that their voices would be heard. I'm thankful for that.
Yes, we honor your it's your great grandmother, right? We honor her. And one of the things that I was sharing with the other women in the series is you had, when history doesn't, it's the unsung heroes. So you had African American, Native American, and Asian American women that were also part of that movement. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, you're a history buff. You know that where white women received the right to vote in 1920, Asian women, it was in the 50s, African Americans in the 60s, and Native American, it was in the 80s when anti-discrimination laws were written off the books as it related to voting. And that's, it's a little staggering to think, these women were all there at the table.
Yeah.
The benefit wasn't seen until decades and decades later. So we definitely honor all of their efforts. And I think right now, like you said, this is a different time. Things are shifting. Yeah. That when we come and have a seat at the table, or as Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't offer you a seat, you bring your own chair.
Right. Yeah.
You just
I love that. Yeah.
And you make a demand. That's what I see in this choosing to challenge. It's like we're just standing up and saying, like you said, your great grandmother's like, see me. I'm not invisible.
Right.
I'm not invisible. And it's all about their sphere of influence, their family.
Right. And I will say this, because she was in the Dakotas over near the Black Hills, and some of her students were indigenous. And that was also a part of the legacy that I was taught, is that there was the need for equality, and that in our family, that was always drummed into us, in that whatever we could do to help with that piece of it, because it wasn't necessarily equal, yet there were the baby steps that were being taken care of. And that's why it was passed generation to generation to generation, is that we needed to make sure that these things ended up being equal for all. And I'm proud, and that was something both men and women in my family, my grandfather especially, was very big about that. Very big about that. He would spend hours talking about it, truthfully. Yeah.
So that takes us to our last question. what woman most influenced you in your life, and what would you like to leave the listening audience as your final words during this interview?
Well, there is no question that the woman that influenced me the most would be my mom. She wasn't perfect, and that's one of the things that I want to say, is that you can influence people when you're not perfect, yet her heart was there, her teachings were there. She's the one that made such a huge difference in my world, not only by what she said, but by how she lived, both being transparent with the good and sometimes the not so good, because that's called life. So what I'd love to leave with everybody is to say that we all can show up to our lives and influence others and help them and share how challenges choose to challenge can truly present the opportunities for all of us to serve each other. And in doing so, to allow ourselves to not be perfect through that, and that it won't always be perfect. There will be times when this group got it and that group didn't, or that group got it and this group didn't. Yet, if we all collectively as a united group pull together and say, all right, I choose to challenge together. I choose to challenge that we can make a difference together. I choose to challenge to never give up. And I choose to challenge every day to show up. I choose, #choose to challenge, to make this world a better place. And you know what? We will. We will. I have no doubt.
I love it. Thank you so much, Tamara. I'm so glad you joined us. Thank you for your sharing your family history, your golden nuggets, just the wisdom that you shared with our listening audience. I truly honor and appreciate you.
Thank you.
How can people get a hold of you?
Well, they can, easiest way right now is my name, TamaraLHunter.com is my website, and there all my brands are. So you can go check it out. You can go find out about our nonprofit and the different things that I'm doing. And there's a contact. You can contact me there, or I'm on all the social media, TamaraLHunter.com. TamaraLHunter.com. It's probably the easiest.
Thank you so much, Tamara, again. And to our listening audience, you have enjoyed another amazing segment of Women's History Month, #Choose to Challenge with Tamara L. Hunter. And as we always say and celebrate you, love yourself, embrace yourself, and whatever you do, always celebrate you. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.